Alright, what's up guys? It's time to talk about late round and clutching on T-side. Now we already talked about taking map control. We already talked about some of the things you think about once you take map control, like what utility the CTs have left and what ground you already have. So we're going to go back in game. We have long A on Dust 2. I'm going to give two examples, so one here and one on Catwalk. So obviously if you took long A, getting up into the site is a unique conversation, depending on if you have teammates who are willing to work with you, what nades you have left, and all that stuff. So obviously there's unique ways you can cross, you could smoke here, you can learn creative smokes like this one, and you could throw it and it'll block off CT spawn. But the point being is a lot of times you guys are going to be playing as individuals. And so you'll learn cool smokes and you'll learn stuff that'll help your game knowledge and things that'll help you take ground for your opponent. But the key aspects here are the fundamentals, which is nade usage, kind of like what nades you want to throw, understanding what position you're in, and kind of mastering the contact plays if you don't have a lot of utility, which would be like, jiggle peeking this if there's no opper there, like creeping up, knowing why it's important to creep here and not here. Because if the guy's spotting sight, he's most likely peeking that angle, and like what happens when you do see him. Like you take that shot, and even though he shot at you, you should come and peek this, right? So realize that like late round play and positioning is always dependent on where the other guy is, and my suggestions for late round is learn how to do contact plays. So contact plays, exactly as it sounds, you learn to walk in a bomb site with the right pathing with only your gun out. So a contact play off Catwalk, for instance, would be like you kind of peek everything, and then once you get spotted, you know how you have to take a route based on what you see. So if I see here a contact right there, I know a lot of times there's another enemy there. So what's going to happen is very fast I'm going to be reactionary and say, okay, I'm peeking, shoot there, he hides, I drop because I know these boxes are covering me, I peek this, and then if no one there, I can make a risky play and do this and try to kill the rotator. Or if he peeks me there, I know I only have so much time before this guy fights me, so I'm going to try to actually take a back angle this way in case that guy's there, but he's like, maybe he was helping long. And once I shoot this guy, I'm going to actually take a wide route. And then once I get over here, at least I could like duck maybe and wait for him to re-peek there, and I'm out of sight from this guy maybe because I'm back on the angle and he's maybe close up here. So learning how to do contact plays at every site, there's different what we call waypoints. My German friend, I'm laughing because Gabi used that term, would be the same on every site. Not the same, but you have to learn the same things on every site. So if you shoot a guy here, a lot of times the next support guy is going to be window or door. So you could run in and block the site guy by taking this route, and then you've got to be ready to peek this guy, right? Because the difference is if you shoot at this guy and go right, there's a chance that if you don't kill him right away, his teammate peeks you from here or here, and is going to help trade. So learning how to entry every bomb site with no nades is a key aspect. Learn to use different objects in the site. Just like I said here, you shoot at this guy, you use that box to take this path and peek these guys so that they're isolated and you're fighting that site alone. Last but not least, clutching. All right, late round, a big part of late round play is clutching. And of course, there's trading and baiting, but I mentioned that mid round, which is kind of an obvious thing, which is with these contact plays, you want to learn how to follow the guy right in front of you. So if he does die at that angle to this guy, you're right behind him, and boom, you take that fight. You never want to let your spacing get too far out. If this guy's entry fragging in front of you and gets out all the way to there, and you're still here, that's wrong, because if this CT peeks him, you don't want to be all the way over there because now this guy will just get that kill and then can come back up and kill you. So no matter if you're individual, like solo queuing or playing as a team, you could still do these little things and be a good teammate and follow people. And that's the type of stuff that isn't a strat and isn't part of some unique meta, but is a part of a fundamental that you should learn how to hold hands when entry fragging, whether you have a contact play or a strat with smokes and flashes, all right? Last but not least, clutching. Alright, just like 1 versus 2s on CT side, it's all about isolating. So we're going to talk about if you're by yourself. Because if you're clutching and doing late round with a team, then it's all about the setup. So we're talking about planning on A. Say you planted in, you're in the bomb site, or you're over here. You're always going to want to do what right away, guys? If you have teammates alive, communicate what spot you're holding, coordinate nades, and then go from there. So if you're going to communicate what spot you're holding, you're going to say, all right, I'm holding long flank, right? We planted A, I'm holding long flank. Or I got the cat run off, so I'm holding this. Or I'm watching the spawn run up, so I'm holding here, right? It depends on what control you have of. Like if you know there's no one spawn, you peeked it, you could hold cat from here or something, right? You're here. Next up, what nades are you using? If you have a lot of nades because you took long super easy and you planted, you could smoke the long door and say, I'm smoking long door. Who's smoking brick, right? We call this brick, even though it's wood now. Old school call. So communicate what nades you're throwing and where so you utilize utility usefully. The most important part of clutching by yourself, guys. Now, say all this has happened, your teammates died. one protocol I want you guys to remember. If it's a 1 versus 3, you cannot play passive and expect to win it unless you expect to win luckily, right? Like if it's a 1 versus 3 and they're all running off cat, you literally have to be like one shot, one shot, one shot. But if it's a 1 versus 3, always try to isolate one person right off the bat to get it to a 1 versus 2. 1 versus 2 is still about isolation, but you could be in a corner. You could win a 1 versus 2 right here if they're both coming off cat by shooting a guy like this and then waiting for the next angle and shooting the next guy here, right? But it's a 1 versus 3 more often than not, and they're all, even if they're all coming from the same spot, you can't just go like this, like this, like this. You're always going to run into an angle where like 2 guys are fighting you. So anytime it's a 1 versus 3, a suggestion I would have would get aggressive. So if it's a 1 versus 3 and you're here, maybe you come back long and try to like get an early kill right here, and then come back and then fight these guys. If you're top A, maybe like take an aggressive peek like spawn and making a 1 versus 2. Then, like it said, 1 versus 2, play around this box. You can take a peek, get that kill, and now it's a 1 versus 1, and then it's a fair 1 versus 1. So it's always about isolating. But if it's 1 versus 3 and you just try to sit here and stay AFK, you're not going to have a high success rate for winning the round. So don't just sit back and say, okay, 1 versus 3, one shot, one shot, one shot. Like, obviously, the better your aim gets, and if you have those abilities, you might have to do that. Maybe you just planted the bomb because there's not enough time to plant. But your goal in clutching in 1 versus 3 guys should be always go for the first aggressive kill, then play the passive, the 1 versus 2 in a more defensive manner. I hope that helped, guys. If you have any sick clutches after this course, feel free to show me, record the footage, and share with me on social media.